Well, Nico, we were going to talk about what happened in New York City with Allahu Akbar, and our lead said, "Is this a huge surprise that you've got, attacks against Jews in New York City when you have the mayor of New York cutting a video, literally a couple of days before, calling Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal, saying that there's genocide going on in Israel, saying that he's going to arrest Netanyahu. He knows all that's bullshit. Okay, look at his speech as he came into office. There was no time for the Jew. It was all a bunch of lip speak. It was all about the immigrant. Go back and read the speech after he came into office. This is a man whose electorate was 62% foreign-born. The socialist sweep that we've seen in New York here, I'm thinking about Daria-Lise Chevalier in the 13th Congressional District, 40% foreign-born. So we bring in foreign-born people by the droves who can't stand the American Republic.
Without assimilation.
Yeah. They ascend into political office, and then we're stunned that voting patterns change accordingly.
Yeah.
Golly. So I think, unfortunately, you can expect these happen more and more and more because the value system's changing. Our enemies are now friends, our friends are now enemies. And so he knew he couldn't arrest Netanyahu. He knew that. The International Criminal Court, it has no authority whatsoever. FYI, the International Criminal Court has no say on United States policy at all. The United States didn't sign on to it. Russia didn't sign on to it. China didn't sign on to it because it is an attack on American sovereignty and on their sovereignty. So he knew that. But he made this. Why did he make the statement anyway?
But even aside that, a mayor can't arrest anybody. I mean, just in general. I mean, that just tells you the ignorance. And I say that as respectfully as I can of people. A mayor cannot arrest any. A mayor is a citizen with a vote. That has a say-so in policy, in spending, in governmental spending, in governance, but not in law enforcement.
And to your knowledge, that's across the board in the United States.
There's not a mayor that I've heard of ever in any United States city that has the authority constitutionally to arrest anybody. They're not law enforcement. They don't direct law enforcement. It's a separation of powers deal. They don't push. They can influence the DA, but they don't control the district attorney in that area. They can influence the chief because they obviously are they're employers of the chief of police. But the chief has his own
What does that look like? What does a mayor influencing a DA to arrest someone look like?
I mean, just like you should arrest this person and political power, and I'm going to be your political opponent, and we're working together on this initiative and that initiative. And if that DA doesn't have any courage, like the DA that we have in this town, then you get controlled by somebody outside of the DA's office, like the Rent Collective or something else. That's it. These are weak people. These are weak people. To me, a district attorney has to have a backbone. And it cannot play for the cheers of the audience. Hopefully your policies and the way that you dispense justice appeals to the vast majority of your people because they know that you have a good heart and that you want to protect people against evil and give people that are stupid maybe an opportunity to turn their life around with accountability and keep order. You should keep order in your community. But you're not controlled by anything. I mean, when I was district attorney, I met with the mayor at the time, the county judge, all the players, but the DA's is his or her own, authority, and they answer to the citizens of Bexar County and should not succumb to any other outside influence other than what your oath is, and to ensure justice is done.
So there are justice and law enforcement structures in place to ensure equal justice under law.
To ensure, theoretically.
To enable, facilitate.
Yes, enable.
Right?
I like that word better. To enable, to ensure there's not you ensure justice by having the right person in office and having the support of the people. It's ultimately about the people, and if the people are ignorant and then vote in somebody else because of their emotions, I mean, there's people that are emotional, man. I mean, you read comments and people just get emotional, and your emotions have no place in the justice system.
Particularly when pursuing due process, regardless of what that looks like, with or without investigators.
Yeah.
But I was a long-standing joke. But see, this is what fails in regimes like this: is no one cares about due process. This guy's very honest about who he is and what he wants. You got to give this guy credit. He's not hiding. He's coming right out there and saying, "Hey, here, this is what I believe. This is what I'm going to do." Good for him. I mean, in terms of honesty, sign him up.
Know the anti-quote-unquote religion people are, these progressives that hate religion. Where are they at with this dude when he's, playing the morning chants or the prayers in the morning and overtly talking about Islam and how it should influence people's decisions?
Where are the Jews of New York?
But I want to know. I want to know where the anti-religion people are. I mean, the people that lost their shit because a coach asked for volunteers to pray of his players after a football, volunteers, and they prayed in the middle of a football, and that had to go to the Supreme Court. Where are those people? Because my enemy's enemy is my friend, and the enemy is the conservative Christian, quote unquote. That's the enemy. And so they're going to team up with whoever's against that group of people until that group of people is gone, and then all of a sudden you're going to see that you have a pet scorpion.
Yeah.
And you're going to get stung yourself. And it happened over and over again. It's the same playbook, but because people are ignorant, and that's not a condescending statement, ignorant just meaning not knowing, because they're not being taught, and they don't have any personal experience with this, they fall for this shit. And they're falling for it. The young people are falling for it. And that's why, in my humble opinion, a loss like Charlie Kirk, the movement, the young movement, the movement that Trump had to win and the way he won, and why I'm so irritated with the administration and how this has been handled and the squad.
But the lines are getting starker and starker and starker. You look at the conservative movement and its emphasis on traditional American and constitutional norms, continually coming back to the American Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, religious conscience, the ability to express your views in a public square without government reprisal. I mean, literally going back to fundamentals. And then you see a stark line between what this guy's proposing in New York City, right? I mean, so he's out there cutting a video, I mean, spewing a bunch of nonsense and talking about arresting the head of the Jewish nation. And please keep in mind, if he knew this was bullshit, and he knows, he's not a dumb guy.
No, he's not.
What was this about? And so I'm going to venture a guess. What he's saying is, hey, I'm a kingmaker. Look around. Ascending stars in the Democrat Party, now the Communist Party, look a lot and sound a lot, can talk a lot like me. So I've set a standard.
Yep.
And so if you want to have a future in this party, this is how we vet you. This is the litmus test. Yep, you got to hate Israel. First of all, let's just be very clear about that. You got to talk genocide. The bullshit, the 73,000 people dead is a bullshit number. How do I know that? Because it comes from Ministry of Health in Gaza. Guess who runs the Ministry of Health? Hamas. Very reliable organization, right? So this guy's spewing nonsense. What's he doing? He knows it's crap. This is where the party's going. And you look, if I'm wrong, I'll eat this pen. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to hear, there's a thread of consistency. There's an animus brewing. So when you see Allahu Akbar in New York City, when you see Jews being stabbed, when you see that, where does this come from? Because actions are preceded by ideologies. Where does that ideology come from? Is there an endorsement of that ideology? Yeah, and it comes from New York City mayor. This guy's very smart. He's not a dumb guy. And so you just got to step back and tie the knots together. Is that the kind of country that we want?